Chapter 2071, 3 months. Try this soup. It doesn't look very oily and it looks quite refreshing. That's right. He's a grown man. He must know how to take care of himself. He's already going to be a father. Nan, don't worry. He should be the one taking care of the both of you. Miaojing thought that it had been such a coincidence, or perhaps, the Zai family was truly fated with this child. His existence had never bothered Jiaonan, causing all these experienced women to be deceived as well. But just as his father, Zai Sheng, returned, that child reminded everyone of his existence in the Zai family. The child was predestined for the Zai family, especially Zai Sheng. Her own child was the best child in the world, and Miaojing, who had just become a grandma, was viewing everything through rose-tinted lenses. That bean sprout in Xiaonan's stomach would still need another month to grow its hands and feet. At the very most, it would only be 2 centimeters long at this point in time. How would such a small bean sprout have so many ideas at this time? There was no way an embryo could have such complex thoughts. After the meal, Miaojing could not seem to calm herself down and stayed around Jiaonan. The news that she would soon be a grandma excited her beyond imagination. After enduring it for an entire day, Miaojing finally thought of someone to share this piece of good news with. Hua, it's me. It's your mom. Zai Hua had been rather happy to receive Miaojing's call. After all, Zai Hua realized that she had already had everything she had yearned for in her youth in her own family. Because she was no longer as stubborn as she had been and was now more open-minded, Zai Hua's relationship with her family had gradually improved. Even though Miaojing and Zai Yaowai had left for the capital with Zai Sheng, leaving only Zai Hua and Jiajia in Pingcheng, Zai Hua was no longer resentful toward her family. She no longer felt that her parents only cared about their son, Zai Sheng, while neglecting her. It was just that Zai Hua's joy was soon killed and Miaojing's words made Zai Hua roll her eyes. Mom, do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Do you really need to introduce yourself to me? She could immediately guess who had called her just by looking at the phone number. It was certainly her mother. Her dad was a man and was not good at expressing his feelings. As for Zai Sheng, he was a stupid younger brother who was also heartless. There was an 80% chance that her mom, Miaojing, was the one calling her. The remaining 20% was left for Xiaonan. There was no way Zai Yaowai or Zai Sheng would ever make a call to her. If not for the fact that Xiaonan had signed up for many courses and examinations, Zai Hua would have thought that the probability of Xiaonan calling her would be 80%, while her mom calling her would be 20%. It was not that she looked down on her mom, but Jiaonan had finally married into the family after much difficulty. Her mom cared so much about Jiaonan that she seemed to care more about Jiaonan than her own biological daughter. Thankfully, Zai Hua had long passed that age where she would get jealous over such trivial matters. It would be childish to throw a tantrum over this. Tell me. Why are you in such a good mood to call me today? Although her dad was already retired, her mom would definitely not lead an entirely carefree life in the capital. Is Jiajia around? Yes. Zai Hua waved Jiajia over. It's Grandma. Do you want to talk to her? It was the end of August, and after returning from their vacation in Sanya, the mother and daughter had been spending some precious time with each other. The previous day, Zai Hua had brought Jiajia to register for high school. In 2 days' time, she would be sending Jiajia off to high school. Grandma. Jiajia called sweetly. Grandma, my vacation is over, but when the National Day holidays come, I'll visit you and Grandpa with Mom. Aside from her vacation to Sanya, this holiday had not been relaxing for Jiajia. Apart from having more opportunities to spend time with Zai Hua, Pingcheng High School had also organized a summer vacation class. Of course, not all students were invited to join this class. Jiajia had scored well in her examinations and had entered a top class. This summer class was naturally for top students. After entering high school, Jiajia even had to attend military training. As such, her schedule was packed. Otherwise, Jiajia would have gone to the capital to visit her grandparents now that Zihua had mended her relationship with her family. All right, Grandma will wait for you to visit us during the National Day period. Miao Jing's heart leaped when she heard Jiajia's voice. Oh right, Jiajia. Grandma has a piece of good news to share with you today. Try to guess what it is. Jiajia frowned. No wonder her mom scolded her grandma for being childish just now. She had stopped playing such games in elementary school. I won't guess it, Grandma. The scope was so wide and she had not even given a hint. How was she supposed to guess it? Ha ha ha. Jiajia, do you want a younger sister or a younger brother? Do you want to be an elder sister? Congratulations! In another 7 months' time, you'll be an elder sister. Jiajia was momentarily stunned but she leaped up immediately. Grandma, are you saying that my auntie is pregnant and that you are going to become a grandma? I'm going to become an elder sister. Yes, she was going to become an elder sister. Are you serious? Even Zihua perked up. I was wondering why your grandma suddenly called today. It's because of such good news. How many months pregnant is your auntie? Zai Sheng was indeed impressive. Should Zai Sheng not have returned to the military once he went back to the capital? How could he have gotten Qiaonan pregnant so quickly? Zihua could not help but wonder if it was because Zai Sheng had held back for such a long time before meeting Qiaonan that his tadpoles were more energetic than an average person's. That was why he had managed to be so efficient. Grandma said that I'll be an elder sister in another 7 months' time. So, that means that auntie is probably 3 months pregnant, Jiajia said. Grandma, is auntie pregnant with a younger brother or sister? Or will she let me have both at once? She swore that she would definitely be a good elder sister. Zihua knocked Jiajia on the head gently. Don't be silly. Your auntie's only 3 months pregnant. Chapter 2072, Over the Moon. There are some tests that can't be done so early. Especially one regarding the sex of the child. Such tests were usually forbidden by the state. Besides, it had only been 3 months. The baby's hands and feet had probably not even grown out yet. She could not remember exactly but guessed that the baby in Qiaonan's stomach was probably only as big as the size of a fingernail. Jiajia rubbed her head, feeling aggrieved. She was still young and had never given birth to a child. How was she supposed to know all about those things? Grandma, tell auntie to stay in good health. I'll visit her and my younger siblings during the National Day holiday. Since her questions were useless now, she would just wait until National Day. Then, she would find out for herself. By then, her auntie should be heavily pregnant. After hanging up the call, Jiajia jumped around in glee. It made it seem as though the baby she was looking forward to was not in Qiaonan's stomach but her mother's, Zihua's, stomach. All right. Stop acting like a monkey. I'm getting giddy. Seeing her daughter, who was usually matured and even more obedient than Wei Wei, acting so childishly and innocently, Zihua was pleased. Are you really that happy that your auntie is pregnant and that you are going to be an elder sister? She had had no idea that Jiajia yearned to be an elder sister so badly. Could it be that Jiajia knew that the state disallowed her from having a second child because Weida was a soldier? Was that why she had never mentioned anything about it? Jiajia, actually, the government has already allowed people to have a second child. If she had known that Jiajia wanted a younger sibling so desperately, it was not as though she could not give birth to one. Before her divorce, Weida had occasionally asked her if their family would have a second child since the state now allowed it. Weida had not been particularly explicit when asking about it and simply made mention of the subject. At that time, Zihua had been in a bad mood and retorted that they already had a daughter, Jiajia. There was no need to have another child. After all, Zihua had already been upset with the entire Wei family placing more emphasis on Wei Wei than Jiajia. It was only natural for Jiajia to love her own child. Zihua was worried that the Wei family would treat Jiajia even worse if their second child turned out to be a boy. Besides, the Wei family loved their grandson, Wei Wei, dearly. Having another grandson would be nice, but not having another did not matter to them either. As such, Zihua never considered the problem of having a second child ever again. Now, Zihua's life revolved around Jiajia. She had already gotten a divorce from Weida and there was absolutely no possibility of reconciliation. Even so, Zihua foolishly brought up hypothetical situations, knowing that Jiajia liked younger siblings. If she had not gotten divorced from Weida, she might very well have given Jiajia younger siblings, given how enthusiastic she was about them. By now, they would even be old enough to run around. Jiajia hurriedly waved her mom off. "Mom, don't get any weird ideas. That's not what I meant. It doesn't matter if it's you or Auntie that gives birth to my younger siblings. They'll be my younger siblings all the same. If I really wanted a younger sibling from you, I would have told you about it a long time ago. Besides, I think that it's better for my auntie to be the one giving birth. Mom, don't tell me you're regretting your decision and you're thinking of getting back with my dad." That was why she was trying to use Jiajia as an excuse. In that moment, Jiajia was straddled in a dilemma. Of course, she wanted her mom to be happy. It was just that she disliked her paternal grandma's family and her dislike only intensified by the day. It was not just talk that Jiajia liked younger siblings. Because Wei Wei had not been a good elder brother, Jiajia often thought about how she would definitely protect her younger siblings instead of bullying them like Wei Wei had. She would take them out to play, teach them, do their homework with them, watch television with them, play games. But the siblings whom she liked so much should never be born in the Wei family or live in the same shadow of Wei Wei as she had. Even if that would no longer happen now, Jiajia still hated the idea of it. "What nonsense are you spouting?" Zihua's expression changed and she hit Jiajia on the head again. "Being married once is more than enough for me since I already have you. I don't have any interest in finding another man, whether that be your dad or someone else. I was just thinking that I might have given birth to another child a long time ago when I was still married to your dad if I had known you wanted to be an elder sister so badly." Jiajia heaved a huge sigh of relief. "So that's what you meant. Thankfully, I never spoke out wanting a younger sibling then. Otherwise, my heart would ache so badly." "Why? Did she not like having younger siblings? Why would her heart ache?" Jiajia sat beside Zihua and told her indifferently. "When the state started to allow for people to have another child, I heard Wei Wei ask Grandma and Grandpa whether you and Dad would have another child. If you were to have a son, would my dad still love him all the same, and whether Grandma and Grandpa would favor the youngest child instead of him." Grandpa remained silent but Grandma immediately replied that he would never like any child that came from you. There was no one who could ever replace Wei Wei's place in her heart. Jiajia knew that her younger siblings would never be welcome in the family and would even be forced to endure the horrible torture that she had already been through. Jiajia also knew that her dad was a soldier and could not have a second child. As such, even after the state announced such a ruling, Jiajia had never once let known to Zihua her desire of having a younger sibling. "But I'm finally becoming an elder sister. Ha ha ha. Mom, how many children do you think Auntie is pregnant with? Do you think she'll give me a younger sister or brother? Since a second child is allowed now, do you think Auntie will give birth to another child after this? No, as an elder sister, I have to prepare a present. Mom, wait a minute. Don't disturb me. Let me go to Baidu and see what kind of toys and animations babies like nowadays. I have to keep myself updated. Otherwise, we might not have any common topics to talk about in the future." Knowing that Jiaonan was pregnant, Jiajia became the person who was most excited. That had been truly unexpected. Perhaps it was because she was going to be an elder sister that Jiajia was able to distance herself from the hurt and sufferings she had experienced in the Wei family when talking about them. It seemed as though she had not been the one going through all that because she was over the moon about the news that she was about to become an elder sister. Chapter 2073, Who Did It? Zihua, who had been left behind, had the urge to drop everything at once and rush to the Wei family's house to give this whole family of white-eyed wolves a good beating. Since Jiajia had already instructed her not to disturb her, this meant that Jiajia would not disturb her either. As such, Zihua returned to her study room and retrieved a thick envelope. Within it was the latest news of the Wei family that her friends had gathered on her behalf. Just because Zihua had decided not to pursue the matter even after she had suffered so much with Weida did not mean that others were willing to do so as well. Besides, given their understanding of Zihua, they had always felt that Zihua could not possibly simply take it lying down after being bullied and continue raising her daughter just like that. Initially, Zihua had indeed planned on taking revenge. However, her temper now that she was a mother could not compare to when she had still been a young lady. Now that she was living a comfortable life, there was no point in caring about those people who made her uncomfortable. That would only make her life even harder. For Jiajia's sake, Zihua decided to sever all contact with the Wei family. She did not want to know, much less care about, the Wei family. As such, Zihua had never bothered to look through the information that had been sent to her out of good intentions. But today, she was going to do so for Jiajia's sake. As a mother, Zihua's heart could soften and she could control her temper for her daughter's sake. Similarly, her temper could get even worse and her attitude even more vicious for the sake of Jiajia. Jiajia liked having younger siblings so much but had never dared to let her parents know about it simply because of something Mother Wei had said. This angered Zihua. She was mad at herself and also the Wei family. The Wei family were truly vast *RDS with no limits. Jiajia had had such a heavy burden at such a young age and she had known nothing about that as a mother. If not for Qiao Nan's pregnancy that they had suddenly brought up this topic, she would never have known that the Wei family had said such cruel words in front of Jiajia. She had truly wasted all of her money on the Wei family all these years. Zihua could not help but think about how to deal with the Wei family, but the moment she saw the documents, her anger subsided. The Wei family was already in such a sorry state. If she wanted to torture them even further, the only thing left was probably death. Because Weida had married Zihua, he was always treated politely, and people had no choice but to address him respectfully as a company commander. Even those who were in higher positions than him were especially courteous to him given the fact that he was the Zai family's son-in-law. Because he had lived such a life for over a decade, Weida had already long forgotten about how careful he had to be in the military before getting married to Zihua, and how he even had to flatter others occasionally. It was hard for anyone to tame their temper once it had been developed, especially for someone as foolish as Weida. It was hard for even the most intelligent person to do. Weida was no longer the son-in-law of the Zai family nor a company commander in the military. After going out into society, he even faced many obstacles and setbacks. As such, Weida's temper had gone out of control. Then, he had been careless, had been cheated of his money. And his business had failed. Weida had not even inquired about the status of the person who had deceived him and had immediately gone to find him to settle their accounts. It turned out that that person was well known locally. Was he not just driving himself into a corner? Such fraud was not one that concerned money or not handing over the goods. Instead, there had been many loopholes that had favored the other party when they had signed the contract. Weida had never done business, and neither did he have any lawyers as friends. It was only natural for him to not understand the contract and be fooled. Besides, it was Weida who had turned up to make a fuss as though he was about to kill someone. As such, the other party had simply exerted slightly excessive self-defense, sending Weida to the hospital. After Wei Wei was hospitalized, the hospital and the police tried to get in contact with the Wei family. Unfortunately, Mother and Father Wei were not in a good place. Their family's three-storied house had been sold by Wei Wei and his mother. Because all the procedures had been legal, there was no way of getting that house back. Although the elderly couple moved back to their old house, they were staying in an abandoned house. In this era, it was difficult to find a house that no one wanted to live in. Every plot of land was precious, after all. As such, one could only imagine Mother and Father Wei's living conditions. It was very difficult for the elderly couple to live in the countryside. They had no money, no house, and no food. If not for the little bit of food that they borrowed from their old neighbors, the elderly couple would never have been able to survive in the countryside. They had survived by relying on borrowed rice grains and the vegetables they occasionally plucked from their relatives' plantations. In the past, Mother and Father Wei had been brought away by Weida gloriously. Now, the two of them had become the lowest of the lowest in the village. There were people who wondered why Mother and Father Wei had given up on a comfortable life in the city to return to the countryside in their old age. Eventually, the news spread, and the villagers finally realized the immoral acts that the Wei family had committed. Although the villagers did not watch them starve to death helplessly, they had formed a terrible impression of the Wei family after finding out that they had bullied others and committed marriage fraud in this manner. Thus, Mother and Father Wei did not interact much with others upon returning to the village. The villagers would even specifically instruct their kids never to play near the Wei family's house. There was nothing crueler and more painful to Mother and Father Wei than such cold treatment after having been respected for over 10 years. Mother and Father Wei could not even take care of themselves, and the first thought that came to Mother Wei's mind when she heard that her son had been sent into the hospital was that Zihua must have done so out of revenge. Thus, Mother Wei called the police directly, asking them to arrest Zihua. Since Zihua had been the one who had beaten Weida up, it was only natural that she had to pay for all of his hospital bills. Moreover, even if Weida was discharged from the hospital, Zihua had to compensate the Wei family for the mental stress she had caused them. Hearing Mother Wei's ridiculous demands, the police officer was stunned and reiterated that this matter had nothing to do with the Wei family's ex-daughter-in-law at all. Weida had brought this beating upon himself through his careless business dealings. There was no one else to blame. Chapter 2074, Burned. The only reason he had made this call was to inform the Wei family of Weida's situation. As for whether the Wei family decided to return to Pingcheng to take care of Weida, that would be none of his business. There was no way Mother Wei would believe the police officer's words. Because the result was not one that she wanted, she blasted out at the police officer. "This is clearly the rich and powerful bullying normal folks like us. I know that Zai woman's father is an old chief and that her brother is a chief. That's why you're all in cahoots. You're all helping that woman, right? Don't forget your status. Your salary is paid by taxpayers like me. I'm the one who gives you enough money to support your family. How can you bully us taxpayers like that?" If not for the fact that Mother Wei was being extremely unreasonable, the police officer might just have mistaken Mother Wei for a cultured person based on her last few sentences. "If you are really suspicious of me, I welcome you to make a complaint. I've already made myself clear. You can do whatever you want." He had only made this phone call to inform the Wei family of Weida's situation. As long as the Wei family was kept in the loop, nothing else that followed had anything to do with him, and neither would he have to take any responsibility for it. The Wei family could make a huge fuss if they liked. If they went overboard and if someone were to call the police on them, he would then come into the picture again. Otherwise, he had better just do his job. Zihua had nothing to do with Weida being sent to the hospital, and Mother Wei had not been successful in her attempt to extort Zihua of money. All these situations added together were undoubtedly a huge blow to the Wei family. Left with no other choice, Father Wei made a trip to Pingcheng to fetch Weida back to their old home. In the past, Weida had been the epitome of a successful child. This time, however, it went without saying that the Wei family had become the biggest joke in the entire village. Almost everyone would use the Wei family as a negative example to educate their children about moral values. The Wei family was truly the worst of the worst. Not only had they committed marriage fraud, but they had even treated their granddaughter worse than Wei Wei, favoring males over females. And what had come of all of it? Wei Wei had sold the Wei family's house, and that chief's daughter had simply taken back everything that belonged to her. It was because the Wei family was full of immoral people that the heavens took back everything that the Wei family had. Now, the Wei family had become the worst family in the village. Apart from his parents, who were already too old to work, Wei De had no one else by his side. He had neither a wife nor any children. Father Wei had not gotten a lot of money from those people for Wei De's injuries. The people whom Wei De had provoked were not just ordinary hooligans. They had deceived Wei De to earn more money in the first place. Besides, they had already known that Wei De had nothing much to begin with. Apart from that small sum that the police officers demanded they pay. The other pay refused to fork out a single cent more. In the end, the other party paid for Wei De's hospitalization bills when Wei De was discharged, and gave Father Wei an additional 10,000 yuan to purchase some nutritional supplements. This 10,000 yuan was like a drop in the bucket for the Wei family. There was nothing they could do with such a small sum of money. Even so, the Wei family had to have a careful plan for the 10,000 yuan so as not to waste it away. And so, this 10,000 yuan became the only asset of the Wei family. Although Wei De had recovered from his injuries, he had no means of returning to Pingcheng or to continue living in Pingcheng, hoping to strike it out with a business and stand up tall in front of Zihua again. After learning about the Wei family's situation, Zihua's expression was calm, as though the Wei family's information was simply a fictional story. Zihua stood up and shredded these documents. Then, she lit the fire and burned them all, not leaving even a single shred. She had no intention of discussing whether the Wei family's situation was retribution for their past actions. The son whom Wei De cared most about had taken Wei Xiaomei and had run away, leaving nothing for Wei De at all. This son was truly Wei De's. "Mom, what's that smell? Why is there a smoky smell at home?" Jia, who had awoken to use the toilet, had been taken aback by the smell and had run over to check on her mother. Zihua did not panic and answered calmly, "It's nothing much. I just shredded some useless documents and I'm burning them. They have been taking up quite a lot of space at home. Don't worry. Your mom isn't a 5-year-old kid. Do you think I'll burn our house down? Have you decided what you're preparing for your younger sibling? I'm wondering if I should prepare 2 presents, since my auntie doesn't know whether it's a boy or a girl. Just in case, I should just prepare a present for a girl and a boy. Having one present go to waste is better than not preparing anything as an elder sister." This was the solution that Jia had come up with after a long time. Zihua finally let up a smile in front of her daughter. "Is that so? I think it's a good idea. We'll do just that. You can do whatever you want. It's not like we're too poor to afford it anyway. You can just ask me for more money if you need it." Jia laughed. "Mom, do you think I'm going to let you off so easily? You're overthinking it. Mom, it's late. You should sleep, and so should I. Once the school term starts, I'll have military training as well. I heard that military training is quite scary. I wonder how strict the military training in Pingcheng High School is." Jia shrugged. She had never had the experience of undergoing military training. Zihua pinched Jia's nose. "I wonder who declared that she was going to be a female soldier just 2 months ago? She even said to her mother that she was qualified. You haven't even become a true female soldier and such minor military training has already frightened you. To think that you're Zihua's daughter. It's unfortunate that you weren't around when your great-grandpa was still around. He loved children so much that he sent all the children in the family to the military early. There's no way he would have allowed you to be exposed to the military only now. Military training? Those in schools are just for students and children to play around. Real military training in the military camp was much tougher than those in schools." Jia stuck out her tongue. "I won't talk to you anymore. I'm going to bed." Chapter 2075, Changed. Walking out from the study room, Jia thought of those burned ashes just now and lowered her eyes. She returned to her room silently. There was only so much to Wei Wei, the person her father and grandparents treated as their precious. However, perhaps apart from themselves, they had never liked anyone else. After all, she had grown up together with Wei Wei. Jia didn't know what Wei Wei experienced after returning to the countryside. However, she felt that if the Wei family hadn't done something sorry to him, Wei Wei wouldn't have been so bold to sell the Wei family's remaining building. In reality, when Zihua wanted to get a divorce with Wei Da and she heard that the Wei family was going to send Wei Wei to the countryside to reunite with Wei Xiaomei, not only did Jia feel that she had won, but she also developed the thought that Wei Wei had lost, just like her. Favoring boys over girls? In their father's heart, he valued himself the most. When encountering a critical problem, her father could just abandon his son just like that. It was as if the love for more than 10 years before was fake and didn't exist. Actually, before Zihua got to read the information, Jia had already read it while cleaning the house the other day. The more she read, the more indifferent she was to those people from her grandma's family. Otherwise, Jia wouldn't have inadvertently mentioned the topic of younger siblings in such a casual manner today. She was upset and minded in the past because she really thought that no matter if it was her or her non-existent younger brother, her grandparents didn't like the children that were born to her mother. However, Jia understood now that her grandma's family didn't like her and that they truly liked Wei Wei. After knowing this truth, she had reason to believe that Wei Wei, who always felt that he was blessed, would only suffer more than her after knowing the truth. After thinking about this, Jia really felt that there was nothing to be persistent about the Wei family and there was nothing she couldn't let go of. She understood it herself. She hoped that her mother would also understand this and not let herself feel troubled because of everything about the Wei family. How good was it now? She and her mom were living happily together. Uncle married aunt and aunt was pregnant with a baby. Everything was developing in a good direction. The most important thing was for a family to be safe and happy together. Really? Xiao Dongliang was flattered to have received Xiao Nan's call. When he knew that Xiao Nan was already pregnant, Xiao Dongliang was so happy that he didn't know what to do. How many months has it been? Did the doctor say anything? Are you and the child well? Do you need to pay attention to anything? It was a good thing to be pregnant. However, Nan wasn't young anymore. It was definitely tougher for her to be pregnant now than any pregnant woman. When he thought of how Ding Ji had treated Xiao Zijin like a queen for 10 months when she was pregnant, Xiao Dongliang wanted to find someone to take care of Xiao Nan as well. Of course, such a thought lasted only for a moment. It wasn't easy for Xiao Nan to be pregnant at this age. People would have paid more attention to her than Xiao Zijin initially. Let Ding Ji go over to take care of the pregnant Xiao Nan? Xiao Dongliang felt that even if he was a father and he didn't know anything in this regard, he'd rather do these things by himself than let Ding Ji do so. Others didn't know but he did. He was worried that Ding Ji would come up with bad ideas to harm Xiao Nan and the child in Xiao Nan's stomach. Don't worry. The child and I are doing well thus far. It's only 3 months now. I'll go for a checkup after the 4th month. Xiao Nan touched her stomach that wasn't protruding yet. No one knew how blessed she felt right now. Her child was returning again. That's great. Is Zai Sheng home? Nan's pregnancy was a good thing. It must be made known to Zai Sheng, his son-in-law. Xiao Nan looked at Zai Sheng, who was cutting fruits for her. She said sweetly, Brother Zai's the one who sent me to the hospital for a checkup. That's when I knew I was pregnant. Brother Zai is cutting fruits for me now. The doctor said that as long as they aren't too cold, it would be beneficial for me and the child if I eat more fruits. Because of the doctor's words, everyone in the Zai family, including Zai Sheng, nearly turned the Zai family into a wholesale fruit market. They went to buy everything nutritious and fresh that a pregnant woman could eat. As for the price, they didn't take a second look. The Zai family had always been thrifty. Xiao Nan was long used to the Zai family's lifestyle. After coming to this lifetime, she had adapted very well. After all, compared to Jiao Nan's treatment in the Jiao family, it was already nourishing for her that the Zai family didn't treat her harshly even though they led a simple lifestyle. However, after the Zai family revealed characteristics of being controlling over pregnant women and infants, Jiao Nan felt that she became the one with the best treatment in the Zai family. Perhaps it was really that she was older and it was tough for her to be pregnant. It seemed that the Zai family valued her pregnancy now as much as they did when she was pregnant with triplets in her dream. Knowing that his daughter was pregnant and Zai Sheng was by her side, Xiao Dongliang was even more satisfied. That's good. After a woman becomes pregnant, her cravings will become a little uncontrollable. Sometimes, one would go crazy over thinking about what to eat. How are you? Yes, speaking of this, there was something Xiao Nan was craving for. However, it couldn't be bought in the capital and it wasn't easy to buy in Pingcheng. Dad, do you remember when I was 5, you made a type of pickled ginger at home? That ginger tasted spicy and especially sour. Back then, Xiao Nan was only 5 years old. A child's taste bud was more sensitive than an adult's. As the taste of this pickled ginger was too pungent, the young Xiao Nan couldn't accept it. Xiao Dongliang pickled this ginger as it served as a condiment with porridge in the morning. It was cheap to pickle one's own ginger and it was a childhood memory of Xiao Dongliang. As such, Xiao Dongliang did this on a whim. It was a pity that Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin didn't eat spicy food. Similarly, the mother-daughter pair couldn't accept the spiciness of that ginger. At that time, Xiao Nan was still young and she didn't know how to appreciate the wonder of pickled ginger. For a family of 4, Xiao Dongliang made a small jar of pickled ginger. Aside from Xiao Nan pouring the pickled soup into her porridge, Xiao Dongliang had eaten all the pickled ginger himself. Ever since then, Xiao Dongliang had never made pickled ginger anymore. It was such a distant memory. If Xiao Nan didn't mention it, Xiao Dongliang would have forgotten himself. However, Xiao Nan had no choice. She didn't know if it was the child in her stomach creating trouble, but her cravings had completely changed from the usual. Chapter 2076, Intensifying. Not only did she dig out the memory that was buried in her memory, but she also drooled at the thought of the taste of that pickled ginger. You want to eat pickled ginger? Xiao Dongliang was surprised. Yes. Is it troublesome to do this? Otherwise, you can let me know how to do it and I'll try it myself. Ever since she thought of that taste of pickled ginger, Xiao Nan felt that nothing was delicious. Spicy food lacked the acidity of pickled ginger while sour food lacked the spiciness of pickled ginger. The perfect combination of spicy and sour was only reflected in pickled ginger. In this lifetime, before she got pregnant, Xiao Nan never thought that she would be the kind of person who would lose her senses just because she had a craving. In reality, ever since she had this thought, she even dreamed of when she was 5 years old at the Xiao family enjoying the taste of her first bite of pickled ginger. After confirming that his daughter really needed him, Xiao Dongliang straightened his back. Sure, I'll tell you what to do. You'll let Zai Sheng take this down for you. Although he said this, Xiao Dongliang decided to make a trip to the vegetable market personally tomorrow morning to pick a dozen kilograms of old ginger that were suitable to be pickled. Telling others was completely different from others doing it. Xiao Dongliang was worried that the person in the Zai family making pickled ginger didn't have his own craft. To be honest, the method of pickling ginger was unique to the Xiao family. When Grandma Xiao was still alive, the family was poor and there was little food. Coincidentally, the ginger that happened to be planted grew well. The problem was that in an era when staple food wasn't enough, which family would be willing to spend money on condiments like ginger? It was already good if one could be full. How could one still afford to be picky? There wasn't a choice. Food shouldn't be ruined. As such, Grandma Xiao made pickled ginger for the family. It was also a habit developed at that time. Thereafter, Grandma Xiao would make some pickled ginger at home from time to time to eat as a dish. To Xiao Dongliang, pickled ginger was part of his childhood memories. Of course, the Qiao family's pickled ginger had the Qiao family's unique craftsmanship. Xiao Dongliang shared these pointers clearly over the phone. However, he was afraid that the Zai family wouldn't do it well. As such, Xiao Dongliang thought that the Zai family could make some not-so-authentic Qiao family's pickled ginger first so that Xiao Nan could eat it for a few days. On his end, he would help make some as well. Once the pickled ginger was ready, he would get a courier to send it over to Xiao Nan. Xiao Dongliang also knew that even though pickled ginger was cheap, the cost of express courier to the capital could be as much as 10 times more than the cost of pickled ginger. However, Xiao Nan wanted to eat it. It was worth it no matter how much money he had to spend. The next morning, Xiao Dongliang, who was about to be a grandfather, became the first person to enter the vegetable market aside from the vendors. He bought a bunch of ginger and a few packets of seasoning. "Mom, Dad woke up especially early today. It's already afternoon and he is still in the kitchen. What is he up to?" Xiao Zijin couldn't help but feel curious. She leaned over to Ding Jiyi and asked, "Even if he's preparing a meal, he shouldn't need to stay in the kitchen all morning, right? Mom, do you feel that Dad's especially excited today? He's even humming." Too many things happened to the Qiao family in the past year. Xiao Zijin couldn't remember how long ago it was that she last heard Xiao Dongliang humming. Did anything good happen in the family? Why didn't she hear about anything? Ding Jiyi, who was watching TV, sat to the side. "The weather's so hot. Why are you sitting so close to me? Move away." When she was saying this, Ding Jiyi's eyes never shifted away from the TV. As for Xiao Zijin's question, Ding Jiyi's words didn't have the effect of clarifying her confusion. Ever since the topic of the 100,000 yuan ended, Xiao Zijin thought that by leaving Ding Jiyi alone for a while, she would understand it and no longer mention to her about the 100,000 yuan. Although she no longer mentioned it, Xiao Zijin clearly felt that her mother was much colder toward her and no longer only had her in her eyes and heart, unlike the past. "Mom, are you still angry at me?" If she could, Xiao Zijin didn't want to take the initiative and mention the matter about the 100,000 yuan in front of Ding Jiyi. After all, until now, she never thought of taking the 100,000 yuan out and save Ding Jiyi's so-called marriage. They were already so old. Only young people filed for a divorce. Furthermore, as her father said, at this age, there wasn't any difference in them getting a divorce or not. Her mom was the only one who was feeling nervous and worrying for nothing. Ding Jiyi cracked the melon seed and glanced at Xiao Zijin. "Angry at you? Why should I be? See? She didn't even dare mention the 100,000 yuan. Mom," Xiao Zijin called her mom for a long time, like a spoiled child. Without a doubt, this worked on Ding Jiyi in the past. However, this wasn't the case now. This set of tactics no longer worked on Ding Jiyi. It used to work in the past. Xiao Zijin used to say a bunch of fictional words about filial piety to coax Ding Jiyi. Ding Jiyi always thought that by depending on this daughter of hers, Xiao Zijin, she could live the life of an old lady. As such, no matter what Xiao Zijin said, Ding Jiyi would always agree. However, now, Ding Jiyi drank a sip of water to moisten her throat. "I'm your mom. I always know that it's very nice to call someone. If others heard this, they might think that we have a ghost in the house in broad daylight. Mom, why do you suddenly have this attitude toward me?" Xiao Zijin was unable to accept Ding Jiyi's 180-degree change. She had a completely opposite attitude, like someone who suddenly became clear after being addicted to madness for a while. "Mom, you weren't like this in the past. In the past, you used to think for my best. You won't give up on anything that's good for me. You won't do anything that would be against me. Mom, you've changed." She became more selfish and only had herself in her heart. She had forgotten about her, the daughter. She asked for 50,000 yuan previously and 100,000 yuan now. What about the next time? Her mom's appetite was growing and she was asking for more money. It was such a huge amount of money, but her mom dared to ask her for it. She only had a total of 1.5 million yuan. At this rate, within 3 years, her mom would take away all of her money. She thought of how Ding Ji only asked Xiao Nan for 10 or 20,000 yuan a month when Xiao Nan was still at home in the past. The tides have turned. When Ding Ji asked her for money, it was now 50,000 yuan or even 100,000 yuan. Was she used to exploiting her daughters? It was starting to get worse now. Chapter 2077, Mentality. Xiao Zijin felt that she should give Xiao Nan a call now and have a good chat with her. Others might not understand her. However, Xiao Nan suffered from this issue before. She would understand her. In this family, her father ignored her and her mother was only after her money. She was now like Xiao Nan in the past. As a daughter of the Xiao family, she and Xiao Nan were really too pitiful and unlucky. An enemy's enemy was a friend. After having Ding Ji as a common enemy, Xiao Zijin felt that she should be able to become affectionate with Xiao Nan. Who asked them to have been oppressed by the same person? Mom, you're in a bad mood now. I'll return to my room and not disturb you. When you're happy, I'll find you again. Ding Ji didn't stop her when Xiao Zijin wanted to return to her room. Ding Ji didn't know how to use the computer. It was good enough that she was occupied by the TV in the living room. After returning to her room, Xiao Zijin hurriedly took out her mobile and dialed a number that was foreign to her. Hello, is this Nan Nan? It's me. I'm your sister. When she saw a foreign number, Xiao Nan only thought of trying to pick it up. She didn't expect that Xiao Zijin would actually call her. Why do you have my number? Xiao Zijin thought for a while. Do you need me to spell it out? In this family, who did you give your number to? Nan Nan, you don't have to guard against me. I'm calling you today to tell you that I understand your pain completely. Mom's really different from other moms. Other moms only want to help their children lead a better life. Apart from reaching out to ask for money, our mom didn't make any contributions at all. Nan Nan, you don't know that mom's about to go crazy. It wasn't enough that she asked me for 50,000 yuan earlier on. Just recently, she even asked me for 100,000 yuan. You know that I don't have a job as well. I didn't manage to become a civil servant either. I'm spending all the money in my pockets. If I become a civil servant and have a monthly salary, it would be all right for me to give mom living expenses. Hello? Hello? Before Xiao Zijin could finish her words, Xiao Nan hung up the call and switched off her phone. She was a pregnant woman now. She should stay away from electronic products like mobile phones. As for Xiao Zijin's grievances and affirmation, Xiao Nan didn't care at all. Xiao Zijin had such a good relationship with Ding Ji, and Ding Ji always helped Xiao Zijin. Would she believe that the two of them had fallen out? Even if that was the case, it didn't have anything to do with her. Who knew why they were fighting? The word money probably triggered a war between them. No matter what the reason was, it wouldn't be something good. If she really interfered in this matter, she would be the only one suffering in the end. Who knows? Perhaps this might even be a show that the mother-daughter pair put on to deceive her. It wasn't that such a similar method wasn't used before. Right. Civil servant. It should be because of that. What's wrong? Seeing that Xiao Nan's face changed quite a bit, Zai Sheng sat next to Xiao Nan with a plate of fruits in his hand. Have an apple. Holding Zai Sheng's hand, Xiao Nan took a bite. I just had a call with my dad. I forgot to switch off my phone and received an annoying call. It's all right. I'll feel better in a while. Xiao Zijin called. Zai Sheng had good listening skills. Coupled with his strong analytical skills, he could guess it correctly. This should have nothing to do with your dad. After so long, that father-in-law from the Chiao family did all right. I know. The apple was crisp and delicious. Chiao Nan couldn't help but finish the apple slices in Zai Sheng's hand in 2 mouthfuls. I probably misunderstood Chiao Zijin. I haven't given birth yet, but she thinks that I've gone dumb just because of a pregnancy. Oh right, what's the result for the civil service examination? Chiao Zijin kept mentioning it in the call. I'm guessing she's trying to get us to help her. After Chiao Nan finished a slice, Zai Sheng subconsciously fed her another one. Feeding subconsciously was something new to Zai Sheng. However, he wasn't irritated at all. In fact, he was enjoying it. Zai Sheng couldn't help but think that if Chiao Nan were to give birth to a daughter, he would be willing to feed her like this as well. Chiao Zijin was already rejected in the interview. Zai Sheng had already said it before that they went by the books. They only looked at abilities, not relationships. Zai Sheng never really cared about how it was like to recruit civil servants in the past. However, this year was definitely the most impartial, open, and fair in the history of Pingcheng. They only looked at results and not connections. The Chiao family's neighbor's child had some abilities but wasn't the best. As such, she passed the written test but was rejected during the interview easily. Thankfully, everything was public. After knowing that she was rejected, she went to look at the information of other candidates and was convinced. Since there wasn't any small action or inside story in this matter, she had no choice but to be convinced. She knew it clearly in her heart that since this had already happened, it would be useless for her to say anything else. Her family had really missed the chance to have a relationship like what the Zai family and the Chiao family had. The only time they missed this chance was also basically the only chance in this lifetime. The neighbor's family had nothing else to say to this. It was just that ever since then, the Chiao family's connections in the northern quad seemed to have worsened again. It was a failure. Chiao Nan didn't care about this matter at all. If not for Chiao Zijin's call today, she would have forgotten about this. As long as the results are fair and it's purely based on abilities, there's nothing else to be concerned about. Oh right, I don't plan to use my phone anymore. Thankfully, I've left behind my landline when there's a need to communicate in the past. After receiving Chiao Zijin's call today, Chiao Nan blacklisted her number immediately without a second word. Even if Chiao Zijin called using another number, it would be easy for Chiao Nan to drag the number to the blacklist. Furthermore, it would cost Chiao Zijin money to change her number. Even if one card cost only a few dozen yuan, based on Chiao Zijin's stingy character, she wouldn't persist for something like this. Before Chiao Zijin could do this, Chiao Nan's first reaction was to blacklist all the numbers. You're worried about the Chiao family's matters. Both of them were already married. However, Zai Sheng was still a little confused about Chiao Nan's true attitude toward the Chiao family at times. As a family, Chiao Nan's feelings for the Chiao family must be complicated. Zai Sheng was only afraid that even Chiao Nan herself couldn't figure out her mentality toward the Chiao family. Chapter 2078, Goddaughter. Chiao Nan smiled, almost spitting the fruit in her mouth out. Brother Zai, you're overthinking it. There's no need for me to worry about the Chiao family. Don't worry. The Chiao family is doing just fine. Apart from the fact that Chiao Zijin had suddenly decided that she no longer wanted to live and had died under Chiao Nan's wheel in her dream. In this lifetime, Chiao Nan had no plans of learning to drive. While traveling around in the capital, taking the bus was no better than taking the subway. There was no escaping the crowd either way. Although she had not been in the wrong, Chiao Nan had no wish of experiencing what she had experienced in her dream ever again. That's good too. That'll spare you some worry. Marriage life suited Zai Sheng just fine. It was true that one's life became more harmonious if one were to find the right person to live with. Oh right, I got a call from old Chief Zhu the other day. It seems like he's been hospitalized. Everyone in the Pingcheng Quad knew that Zhu Chenqi had not been in good health. If not for the fact that Zhu Qinqi did not enjoy going to the hospital, Zhu Qinqi would have become a regular at the hospital. As such, Zhu Qinqi must have been in severe pain or suffering from a serious illness for him to have been admitted into the hospital. Qiao Nan stiffened. Do you know how old Chief Zhu is doing? Not very well. The doctor says that he has only a few months left to live. That's why old Chief Zhu has been transferred from Pingcheng to the capital for treatment. Unfortunately, the doctors came to the same conclusion. The state was extremely concerned about an old revolutionary like Zhu Qinqi. Besides, Zhu Qinqi had sacrificed his whole life for the state. That was why he did not have even one relative by his side in his old age. As such, special attention was paid to Zhu Qinqi. Why didn't I hear you talk about old Chief Zhu coming to the capital? If she had known that old Chief Zhu was in the capital, she would have paid him a visit a long time ago. Which hospital is old Chief Zhu in? Shall we visit him this afternoon? You're anxious and worried. Zai Sheng patted Qiao Nan's back, comforting her. Nan, I don't know whether to say that you're intelligent or foolish. He was happy that Nan trusted him and was willing to act foolishly in front of him. But it was not good to expose oneself in this manner. There had been too many suspicions and there would come a day when the couple would have to face them. He had not mentioned them nor asked about them, but that did not mean that they did not exist. If they were to ignore these problems, it would only result in negative feelings between them as time went by. Nan, I believe that couples should trust each other and not hide anything from each other. Don't you think so? Qiao Nan's expression paled slightly as she leaned into Zai Sheng's embrace. Yes, we should, but now is not the time. I got married from the Zhu family, so it's natural for me to be concerned about old Zhu. In her dream, old Chief Zhu had been her godfather and his fatherly love for her had not been any less than Qiao Dongliang's for her. It had not been easy for Zhu Qinqi to love her as he did as a godfather. In her dream, Zhu Qinqi even had a son, Zhu Baoquo. In reality, Zhu Qinqi's life was indeed pitiful. Do you know why old Chief Zhu agreed to help us out with that? Since they had already started on this topic, Zai Sheng decided to continue discussing this topic in depth. I've been looking into the Zhu family. There's something wrong with that guy, Wang Yang. Qiao Nan smiled bitterly. Brother Zai was impressive. He was right. There was a big problem with Wang Yang. Brother Zai, if I were to tell you that old Chief Zhu wanted to acknowledge me as his goddaughter but that was all ruined by someone, would you believe me? How did you find out? Since she spoke about it in the past tense, it had obviously not happened. If the Zhu family had spoken about it, there was no way no one in the quad would not know about this. It seemed a little illogical that no one else but Qiao Nan knew about the matter. Leaning in Zai Sheng's embrace, Qiao Nan recounted the entire series of events to him. Brother Zai, do you remember the guy who found me at my rented apartment and kicked on my door? Chen Jun. Zai Sheng had never regarded Chen Jun as a love rival. However, given that he had once harassed Qiao Nan, Zai Sheng had naturally checked on Chen Jun and knew vaguely about his situation. Of course, Zai Sheng knew clearly just how Qiao Zijin had managed to get her brother-in-law to become her husband. Qiao Nan smirked and said, "That's him. What does he have to do with the Zhu family?" Chen Jun could not possibly have any dealings with the Zhu family. He doesn't have any relationship with old Chief Zhu, but he does have a relationship with Wang Yang. Up until now, Qiao Nan had still not understood why Wang Yang thought so highly of her that he had found a man of such high standing like Chen Jun to seduce her in order to ruin her image in front of old Chief Zhu such that he would never want to acknowledge her as his goddaughter. After Zhu Baoquo left, old Chief Zhu was heartbroken. Later on, old Chief Zhu had wanted to get a goddaughter. And the goddaughter that old Chief Zhu wanted to acknowledge was you. Was that the reason? Goddaughter? Yes, old Chief Zhu had wanted to acknowledge me as his goddaughter. I heard that it's because I fit the image of the daughter that old Chief Zhu and his wife had had in mind. It was just that Madame Zhu had passed away after giving birth to their son, Zhu Baoqiu. Wang Yang. He's not a good person. He's always been eyeing the Zhu family's assets. He was afraid that old Chief Zhu would decide to hand everything he had over to me once I became his goddaughter instead of taking care of his biological nephew. That was why he got Chen Jun to date me. Wang Yang had been spot on. After she had gotten together with Chen Jun, old Chief Zhu no longer talked about acknowledging a goddaughter. Brothers, I must have let old Chief Zhu down at that time, right? Zai Sheng had never expected there to be so many things going on behind the scenes of such a simple matter. But Zai Sheng reminded Jiao Nan. You're overthinking it. Even I as a bystander can tell that there's something wrong with Wang Yang. Even though old Chief Zhu is the party involved, I believe that he has good judgment and that won't get past him. Then, if Wang Yang had really arranged for Chen Jun's appearance, he might have been able to fool others, but he definitely could not have fooled old Chief Zhu. If he really wanted to accept you as his goddaughter, that had already caused you substantial harm. Chapter 2079, Scum. If he really planned on acknowledging you as his goddaughter and stopped talking about it afterward, and even stopped caring about you, that must have had nothing to do with you getting together with Chen Jun. Quite on the contrary, he stopped mentioning you or paying attention to you to protect you from being watched and preyed on by Wang Yang. Even the most brilliant people made mistakes. Wang Yang was ambitious while Jiao Nan was in a vulnerable position and no match for Wang Yang at all. Zhu Qinqi had to have full confidence in raising Jiao Nan into someone who could defeat Wang Yang in the shortest possible time. Otherwise, Zhu Qinqi's good intentions toward Jiao Nan would only harm her. Just like in the past, he would simply have to divert his attention away from Jiao Nan to maintain peace on the surface. Then, Wang Yang would not even care about a trivial character like Jiao Nan. As such, Zai Sheng had reason to believe that Zhu Qinqi had given up on Jiao Nan not because of his disappointment in her. Zhu Qinqi had allowed Jiao Nan to return to her normal life to protect her. At that time, the only one left in the Zhu family was Zhu Qinqi alone. That was the saddest and loneliest time in Zhu Qinqi's life, but he had never stopped working. Evidently, Zhu Qinqi could not spare too much time trying to protect Jiao Nan from Wang Yang during the worst period of his life. No wonder. No wonder old Chief Zhu, who rarely interacted with anyone, had suddenly offered his assistance to allow Nan to get married from his house. It was because old Chief Zhu had intended to do so a long time ago. Since old Chief Zhu had been prepared to acknowledge Nan as his goddaughter, it was no surprise that he would let Nan get married from his house. So, that's why, Jiao Nan was overwhelmed by the information. She had always thought that Wang Yang's ploy had succeeded and that Zhu Qinqi had been exceptionally disappointed with her. That was why she had not become Zhu Qinqi's goddaughter in the end. But it turned out that had not been the case. Her godfather was still silently protecting her even though he was not physically present, just like how he had in her dream. Jiao Nan sat up suddenly, scaring Zai Sheng. Zai Sheng quickly supported Jiao Nan's waist to prevent her from moving too much, afraid that she would injure the baby in her stomach. What's the matter? Be careful. Thankfully, Mom didn't see that happen. Otherwise, she would nag at you forever. Pregnant women could not move around too much. Pregnant women could not eat too much cold or raw food. There were so many things that she could not do. No matter how smart Zai Sheng was, he was nearly getting overwhelmed and confused by the countless forbidden actions. Of course, Jiao Nan's sudden movements were also forbidden in the Zai family. Nothing. Jiao Nan stroked her stomach, which was not very obvious yet. Brother Zai, I'm just feeling a little emotional thinking about it. I thought that I was capable enough, and that's why. Brother Zai, weren't you curious about how I managed to get so many people looking for me for translations even though I only have a level 4 certification? Although it's not popular anymore, my business hasn't suffered. Brother Zai, do you think there's been someone helping me behind the scenes? Could that person be the old chief, Zhu Qinqi? In the past, Qiaonan had thought that she had managed to earn a high salary and carry the burden of supporting the entire Qiao family because of her own hard work and efforts, even though she was only a junior high school graduate. Now that Qiaonan thought carefully about it, she had always been quite lucky throughout her life. It was suspicious enough that she had been able to hold down such a lucrative job as a translator for more than 10 years. Initially, Qiaonan had had no idea that Zhu Qinqi had intended to acknowledge her as his goddaughter or that Chen Jun's appearance had been planned by Wang Yang. It was only because of her dream that Qiaonan had learned of these truths. Zai Sheng had thought about this some time ago, but at that time, Qiaonan had not agreed to marry him yet. Since he had not even gotten her hand in marriage, Zai Sheng naturally had no time to try to find out about who had been treating his future wife so well all those years. I think it's highly possible. Upon getting Zai Sheng's affirmation, Qiaonan got even more anxious to visit Zhu Qinqi in the hospital. Brother Zai, will you bring me to visit old Chief Zhu? Even though old Chief Zhu had not acknowledged her as his goddaughter, she would still regard him as her godfather because he had taken care of her for 2 entire lifetimes. Zai Sheng supported Qiaonan, but unfortunately, the couple had not managed to meet Zhu Qinqi. The first time, the couple had been rejected at the door with the excuse that Zhu Qinqi's condition was not stable and that he could not receive any visitors. The Zai couple could try again once Zhu Qinqi's condition stabilized. The second time, they were rejected once again with the same excuse. After making 2 fruitless trips, Qiaonan could not help but ask Brother Zai on the way back, "Brother Zai, do you really think that old Chief Zhu is too ill to see us? Or do you think that Wang Yang is doing something behind old Chief Zhu's back again?" Now, Qiaonan was filled with disgust toward Wang Yang. Was Wang Yang entirely shameless? He should know very well why Zhu Baoquo had passed away at that time. Even though he had not intended to kill Zhu Baoquo and had only wanted to teach him a lesson, it was still Wang Yang's decision that had led to the death of an innocent person, Zhu Baoquo. Even after causing the death of Zhu Qinqi's only son, Wang Yang was still eyeing Zhu Baoquo's place, wanting to take over everything that should have belonged to Zhu Baoquo. There were no words to even describe how evil and psychopathic Wang Yang's cruelness was. Wang Yang's immoral acts were too numerous to even count. I can't say for sure. After learning about the truth behind everything, Zai Sheng thought back about how Wang Yang had been looking at him and Qiaonan with wariness on the day of their wedding. This could only mean that Wang Yang had the guts to treat them in this manner behind old Chief Zhu's back. Yet, even if old Chief Zhu was truly ill, there was no reason for him to be controlled by Wang Yang. Because Zai Sheng had not interacted with Zhu Qinqi, he could not be certain of Zhu Qinqi's current condition. As such, his suspicions were nothing more than groundless speculation. The Zai couple returned in vain and their actions quickly found their way to Wang Yang's ears. Chapter 2080, Wool. Wang Yang looked a little haggard with large dark circles around his eyes. It was evident that Wang Yang had not had a good rest lately. Have Qiaonan and Zai Sheng left yet? Wang Yang's subordinate sensed that Wang Yang's tone was strange. Normally, one would put Zai Sheng's name before Qiaonan's. Given Qiaonan's status, one would normally address her as Zai Sheng's wife instead of calling her by her name. Someone with no status would always be known by someone else's name. Don't worry, Mr. Wang. They've left. They left quite quickly, in fact. The chief, in particular, had no intention of pursuing the matter at all. Chief Zai had to have the best temper amongst all the chiefs he had ever met. But it did not seem easy to talk to that person with such an icy cold expression. Okay. Wang Yang took a puff on his cigarette before choking on it. Remember never to let those two meet that old man. The old man's condition has been getting worse and I guess he won't have many more months to live. As his only relative, I just want the old man's last days to be as peaceful as possible. I don't want him worrying about all these complicated relationships. It'll just drain him of his energy. Don't worry, Mr. Wang. Our hospital understands your concerns. Indeed, old Chief Zhu shouldn't be disturbed and needs more rest given his condition. He had done nothing wrong. These were facts. Wang Yang rubbed his forehead. All right. We'll need your help to take care of the old man. If there's any hope, please don't hide it from us. We have to try it out no matter what. The old master has sacrificed his life for the country and the people. If it was possible, I would exchange 10 years of my life for 1 year of the old master's. We will. We all know that you've been very good to old Chief Zhu. I'm sure old Chief Zhu would be happy to know just how much you care about him. I won't disturb you any longer. I'll get in touch with you if anything happens. After reporting the situation, the hospital staff went back to work. As compared to Zai Sheng, Wang Yang was a nobody. Unfortunately, the hospital staff had no way of getting close to Zai Sheng. As such, they could not lose out on the opportunity to do Wang Yang a favor. Besides, everyone knew that everything of the Zhu family would eventually belong to Wang Yang once old Chief Zhu passed away. It might be true that Wang Yang could not compare to Zai Sheng now, but once he inherited the Zhu family's assets, he would not be that far off anymore. Although it was not much, the hospital staff already regarded Wang Yang as a potential investor. You're back? Nan, are you tired? Come have a seat here. Knowing that her son had brought her daughter-in-law to visit Zhu Chenqi, Miao Jing could not stand in their way. Xiao Nan might be pregnant, but Zhu Chenqi was seriously ill. If not for Zai Sheng and Xiao Nan's insistence, Miao Jing would very much have preferred for Xiao Nan to rest at home. Xiao Nan felt fine. Don't worry, Mom. I'm not tired because Brother Zai has been taking care of me. Besides, didn't the doctor say that pregnant women should have an adequate amount of exercise? Exercise is good for both the mother and the baby. That amount of exercise was actually quite little. As she approached her 4th month of pregnancy, Xiao Nan could feel her little tummy getting tighter. There was indeed a little baby growing inside her. In about a week's time, she would reach the 4th month of her pregnancy and would need to visit the hospital for a checkup again. All right. I won't worry about you anymore since you two have already discussed it. Miao Jing was finally willing to let her go because Zai Sheng was by her side. If Zai Sheng was not at home, Miao Jing would never have let Xiao Nan go out of the house. The streets in the capital were terribly crowded and the air quality was poor too. At this time, Miao Jing could not help but think back to the environment in Qingshui town. It was much better for the elderly or pregnant women like Xiao Nan to spend their time in Qingshui town. I guess you guys didn't get to meet him again. Miao Jing had never had much contact with the Zhu family. This was involuntary. Zhu Chenqi's wife had passed away early and his mother had passed on even earlier. As such, the Zhu family did not even have a mistress. It was thus inconvenient for Miao Jing to visit the Zhu family. Miao Jing had not forgotten how Zhu Chenqi had helped out during Zai Sheng and Xiao Nan's wedding. Even though Zhu Chenqi had indeed assisted them, Miao Jing did not understand why they were so persistent about meeting Zhu Chenqi. Even after failing to meet him once, they had gone a second time. Unable to suppress her curiosity, Miao Jing asked, Zai Sheng, Nan's a pregnant woman, after all. You know very well what the capital is like. Are you still planning to make a 3rd trip? Was there a need to go to such an extent even if they wanted to express their gratitude toward Zhu Chenqi? There was seriously no reason for these two children to be so enthusiastic. Thinking about the rumors that she had heard, Miao Jing's heart ached for her 2 children. I didn't intend to share this with you because I was afraid that you would feel uneasy hearing it, especially Nan. It's already easy for pregnant women's minds to run wild and I might very well find those people to settle the accounts if anything happens to Nan. Thinking about it, are there certain things that our family should take note of so as not to cause any misunderstandings? Hearing Miao Jing's serious tone, Zai Sheng and Xiao Nan became somber as well, and Zai Sheng asked, What's the matter, Mom? You can be direct with us. Miao Jing let out a deep sigh. It's those people. I heard quite a lot about Zhu Chenqi's condition. It really hasn't been easy for him to live like that, but at least, he hasn't lived his life in vain. I wonder if it's because the men in the Zhu family have too sinister auras, especially Zhu Chenqi. He doesn't even have a single relative by his side apart from his nephew. Zhu Chenqi is about the same age as your dad, but his health is in such bad shape. There have been quite a few people spreading rumors that there will be trouble once Zhu Chenqi passes away, since there isn't anyone in the Zhu family to inherit his assets. Everyone knew that if Zhu Chenqi were to leave a will now or a few words at his deathbed, anyone who caught Zhu Chenqi's eye now would stand to gain the most. To put it clearer, anyone who managed to coax Zhu Chenqi and get into his good books now stood to gain from Zhu Chenqi's death by inheriting all of his assets.